my name is Star, and today's Mental Health Monday is basically me talking about my intellectual disability, what causes intellectual disability, the common misinformation about it, and all that. So, yeah. Let me explain what intellectual disability is, but before I continue with this video, sorry about my voice sounding weird. I have a bit of a sore throat today. Not sure why. But what intellectual disability is that your IQ is a little bit lower than average. That is what a intellectual disability is. There are varying degrees of how badly intellectual disability could affect someone. In my case, it's pretty mild. I have an IQ of 69, and most people my age have a IQ of 80 to 90, if I remember correctly. Now, what can cause intellectual disability? Typically, you get diagnosed if you show signs of it as a child, which usually most people do show signs of ID as a kid or even as a baby. I was diagnosed when I was like 15, I think. And the reason why they diagnosed me with it is, although I am capable of a lot of things that other neurotypical people are capable of, for me, what my intellectual disability affects is mainly my problem-solving abilities. I am not that good at solving problems because I have the problem-solving ability of a 12-year-old rather than a fully functioning adult, which sucks because that means I need help solving even the simplest of problems. Common myths about intellectual disability is that it's the same as Down syndrome. No, it's not. Down syndrome is a chromosomal disorder. And intellectual disability is, although yes, it is a genetic, it can also be caused by a head injury, for example, or like having your brain damaged in some way. For me, my intellectual disability is genetic, I'm pretty sure. But what are the symptoms of intellectual disability? Childish behavior or mannerisms, temper tantrums, having a hard time regulating your own emotions, understanding things in a different way. Like for me, I understand things in a way that a child would be able to understand things in a certain way. I don't know if that makes sense. But with my intellectual disability, I need things explained to me in a different way because I'll have a hard time understanding if it's overly complicated or something like that. Intellectual disability also causes developmental delays, so that means for me I'm a bit behind in mental development compared to everyone else, which sucks. It can also cause anxiety and I struggle with a lot of anxiety because of my ID, my intellectual disability. And other characteristics of people with intellectual disability include like lack of interest towards like people their own age, or like in my case, I am interested in like hanging out with people my age, like, you know what I mean? But a lot of people with intellectual disability typically hang out with people younger than them because that is their mental age. But for me, I don't like being around kids. I think kids are very overstimulating to be around. So, like, I do try to hang out with adults my age, but sometimes I have a hard time understanding social cues from other adults. That's another symptom of intellectual disability, is stunted social development. And that's probably the worst part for me with my intellectual disability, is that my social skills are absolute trash. But yeah, intellectual disability just basically means my brain's age is different from my chronological age. A lot of people have mistaken me for being like 15 or 16 whenever I go out in public and stuff. Not only because of the way I look, but also the way I behave as well. So it sucks having intellectual disability because you'll never be seen as an adult if you have it. Even though I do make adult decisions every day, I pay my bills, I avoid doing anything illegal, I avoid doing anything bad, like I try to be the best person I can be. But sometimes it's hard for me to figure out right from wrong because there are some situations that's not black and white. It's like a gray area. And it's hard for me to figure out how to solve problems, mainly. Now, the common myths about intellectual disabilities, that all people with intellectual disabilities are pedophiles, that's not true. Most of us actually are not attracted to children. Like, I'll never understand why pedophiles are a thing. I will never understand that. Because I'm like, sir, that is a child. You leave that child alone. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's a good idea for an adult to be in a relationship with a child. It's one thing if you're being friendly to a kid, but dating a kid? Ew, no. Like, and if any of you guys think that dating a kid or doing the diddle-do with a kid is okay, stop that. No, it's not okay. It's gross. Like, that is a child. And a child literally cannot consent. Not only by law, but also psychologically as well. Like, in regards to their development. They're not developed into an adult yet. So, keep your fucking hands off that kid. Don't even think about it. I also think pedophiles are just fucking horrible people, honestly. And the fact that my disability gets me stereotyped as one makes me so mad. Because I promise you, most disabled people would never harm a child. Like, I also avoid being around kids because kids are really loud and overstimulating. And the way that my brain's hardwired with not just being intellectually disabled but also autistic too, I can't stand it when kids like are screaming and stuff. I literally have to cover my ears because it hurts my head a lot. But with my intellectual disability, I also have a hard time understanding things like how to fill out paperwork, basic reading and writing, and math. And I struggle a lot to do reading, writing, and math. I often need help with it because I'll read something 10 times in a row and I would not be able to understand it. It's just like I need things explained to me in a different way than most people, I would say. Also, another stereotype about intellectually disabled people I hate is that people with ID cannot consent to anything. It depends on where on the spectrum you are when it comes to having intellectual disability. But in my case, I am still able to legally consent for certain things. I just mainly need help with like financial stuff. So, yeah. But anyway, that's it for today's video. My name is Star, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.